Welcome to Asian Music Idol, your ultimate backstage pass to the hottest stars and stories in Asian pop.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine this. A major newspaper reviews a huge sold-out concert. Seems normal, right?
Pretty standard stuff.
But what if that one review doesn't just, review the show? What if it sparks a global firestorm, ignites outrage everywhere, becomes a top trending topic online?
It's a really interesting situation. It's like this collision point, isn't it? You've got a legacy U.S. paper, the Seattle Times here.
Right.
They're running headfirst into this massive global force, which is K-pop, specifically the group Stray Kids.
And it all played out very, very publicly.
Oh, absolutely. Online, everywhere.
And that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. We've got some source material, including an article from Topchi Southstar that sort of lays out this whole controversy.
Okay.
Our mission basically is to unpack the specific criticisms fans had, understand that huge fan reaction, its scale, its nature, and maybe see what this tells us about how traditional media approaches these, well, sometimes unfamiliar global cultural things like K-pop.
Right. So let's start by setting the scene a bit based on the source material. The event that really kicked this all off was a review.
Okay.
Published by the Seattle Times, May 25th. It covered a Stray Kids concert at T-Mobile Park in Seattle.
So, on the surface, yeah, just a concert review.
Just a review. But the source makes it pretty clear that almost right away, it wasn't really about the music critique or the performance details. It was specific language, the tone used in the article.
Yeah.
That's what caused the uproar.
Exactly. It sparked, significant outrage among K-pop fans, and not just locally.
No, globally.
Globally, yeah.
So the heart of it, as the South Star report details, is that fans felt the tone was kuthing yunu kungai,
Which translates roughly to
discriminatory against foreigners or xenophobic, and also fundamentally thieu ton tronc, just disrespectful.
And those are, incredibly strong accusations to level against a newspaper's cultural coverage.
Definitely. And when you look at the specific phrases the source highlights, you kind of start to see why people reacted so strongly.
Right. The article apparently started by describing the 8 members with language like "Thakata duck, fat trine trong funky gim."
Actually developed in a lab.
Yeah. Developed in a lab.
Wow. Just hearing that phrase right at the top. It sets a certain tone, doesn't it?
It really does.
And the source says fans immediately, zeroed in on this. They saw it as dehumanizing. And just dismissive of the incredible talent and the years of really grueling training K-pop artists go through.
It frames them like products.
Yeah, like manufactured products, not dedicated artists.
And apparently the article sort of doubled down on that idea. While it did acknowledge K-pop's popularity, especially with Gen Z.
Yeah, it mentioned that. It said something like, K-pop may not be as popular as U.S. pop, but it's growing rapidly and is extremely popular with Gen Z.
Right. It acknowledged that, but then it immediately followed up with the line that seemed to really, pour fuel on the fire.
Yes, that specific bit, as reported, was Stray Kids in particular were actually nurtured in a lab to attract the weak attention of the TikTok generation.
Nurtured in a lab.
To attract the weak attention of the TikTok generation.
Wow. Okay. Weak attention. According to the source, fans saw this as just completely undermining both the artists and their audience.
Yeah, calling Gen Z's attention weak. That feels particularly loaded, right? Yeah. Especially when these groups are so good at using platforms like TikTok.
Exactly. It comes across, based on that fan reaction, as just deeply dismissive of the art form, of the fandom, everything.
And it wasn't just that lab metaphor either. The article also critiqued the performance pace.
Ah, right. What did it say?
It said the pace of each song performed on Saturday was crazy, as the artists constantly changed the spotlight, each getting literally 15 seconds of fame at a time, often not even that long.
Crazy pace, 15 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
That description, it seems to fundamentally misunderstand how K-pop performances work, doesn't it? As the source points out about the fan reactions, it's not about individuals fighting for little moments. It's super coordinated.
Intricate choreography, formations.
Yeah. Right. Members trade lines, the spotlight moves seamlessly. It's a group thing.
Exactly. So framing it as just chaotic or fleeting individual bits, it feels like it misses the whole artistic point and the practice involved.
Definitely misses the practice. And the criticism didn't stop there, right? It went for the music itself.
Yeah, the article described the music in really strong terms too, called it a Kung Tuan Dien Phao Kak Jak.
A full-blown attack on the senses.
An attack.
Okay, an attack. That word feels incredibly subjective, you know?
Right.
And for fans, obviously, that was seen as just biased dismissal of Stray Kids' musical style. They're known for complex production, a hard-hitting sound.
Blending genres.
Yeah, so calling it an attack instead of, I don't know, intense or high energy.
It suggests a negative bias, maybe, overshadowing a more objective look at the music itself.
Seems like it.
And maybe the bit that sparked the most debate about sort of musical understanding was a question the article actually posed.
Oh, what was the question?
It asked, if an entire song is a hook, does it even have a hook?
If an entire song is a hook, does it even have a hook?
That's an interesting question to put in a review.
It is.
And according to the fan reactions in the source, that question felt like it showed a lack of engagement with modern pop structures.
Especially in K-pop.
Yeah, where songs often have multiple dynamic parts, memorable bits all the way through.
Layered production, yeah. It can feel like lots of kitschy elements stacked together.
Exactly. So asking it that way, it felt to fans like a critical framing that just wasn't appreciating the music on its own terms.
Right, not meaning the music where it is.
So the response to all the specific phrases, the overall tone, it was immediate and huge.
Absolutely massive, yeah. The source details how the backlash just spread like wildfire. It quickly led to that social media trend, #apologize to Stray Kids.
Right. #apologize to Stray Kids. And we're not talking a small number of posts here.
No way. The South Star article mentioned hundreds of thousands of interactions.
Hundreds of thousands, all demanding an official apology from the Seattle Times.
It really shows the scale, doesn't it? And the mobilization power of these global K-pop fandoms when they feel their artists or their culture is being, well, misrepresented or disrespected.
It's quite something to see. And just for context, as of the date the South Star article came out, which was May 29th, 2025, the Seattle Times hadn't yet issued any official response to this huge wave of outrage.
Right. Still waiting at that point. And this whole specific incident, as the source kind of points out, it isn't just about one review gone wrong.
No, it plugs into something bigger.
It connects to a much larger ongoing conversation, really. It raises questions about how Western media outlets approach and maybe evaluate Asian pop culture, especially K-pop.
Yeah, like, is the current media lens always fair? Is it really trying to understand?
Or does it sometimes, maybe inadvertently, fall back on biased patterns when covering things from outside the usual Western sphere?
Thinking about this specific case, it really highlights a few things for you as a listener navigating media today. It shows how specific word choices in media can just explode, right? Spark these huge organized reactions from really passionate global communities.
Definitely shows the power of fan bases. Not just consuming content, but mobilizing.
Mobilizing, voicing collective unhappiness when they feel disrespected or misunderstood.
Yeah.
And it gives you a window into just how complex it is navigating different cultural viewpoints when we talk about art, critique art, across borders.
So this deep dive looking at the source material, it reveals this fascinating moment, right? A traditional media review clashing head-on with a global fandom's sense of cultural disrespect.
Yeah, a real clash.
And it makes you think, building on what the source presented, what responsibility does media really have to understand the cultural context of what they're reviewing, especially with global stuff like K-pop?
That's a big question. How do existing power dynamics maybe influence whose perspective gets centered when cultures meet or collide in the media?
And maybe, how is this incredibly powerful, organized fan engagement actually reshaping the whole relationship between artists, the media covering them, and the audience?
Definitely something worth mulling over.
Thanks for watching Asian Music Idol. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated with the hottest buzz in Asian pop culture.